Welcome, everybody. Typically, we don't do live streams on a Thursday, but I had the opportunity, privilege to work with somebody, impressive young individual, handsome brother. Look at that brother, man, in that suit, looking good over there, man. Kenny J, Kendrick Jones, man. It's really good to be with you today. We're going to talk about what you do in life, and I work with Kenny on the accounting end. And I just see you, brother. I see what you're doing. I see everything that you're up to.
Mhm.
And let's just really have a conversation about this. All right. So welcome. Here we go, man. Live.
That's some content. How you doing, sir?
Fantastic. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday to you. Man, we've been trying to get together for a little while on something like this because we have
Yeah.
conversations. And the thing I don't do this with everybody. I want you to know. I don't. I don't do this with a whole lot of folks. When I have conversations like this, it usually is because I see something, you know, and I'm impressed with you, sir.
Thank you.
Just from the fact that you are the age you are, you're a young guy, stepping out on this entrepreneurship journey. You actually have clarity inside of what you want to do with life, putting things together. There's consistency where you show up inside of what you're doing on social media and the presence that you have and your willingness to share, you know. So today, man, I really just want to have a conversation with you. We have conversations, so I want to have another conversation with you. Just talk about the things that you see, things you're up to, and what it takes
Yeah,
to do what you do.
yeah, for sure. I'm excited.
Yeah. So talk to me, man. How did you get into this thing?
Man, it started all during the pandemic. I was at Enterprise Rent a Car. I was a sales manager. It was a really cool job, but it got very stagnant and political. I knew I wanted to work for myself, but I wanted a career where it was a niche. I could really go anywhere in the country and have this job. And I also wanted to educate people. And the last thing is, I wanted to be able to work from home or work from anywhere there was Wi Fi. So I kept doing my research and saying, what is something that is very lucrative that I can educate and help people? And insurance kept coming up. I spoke with a few people in the industry, and it wasn't a lot of people that looked like me or that were young in the industry. It was all older people that were kind of telling me, yeah, get into it. And, for somebody younger, that's not always super appealing. But I, took what they said and did my own research and thought, like, yeah, this is definitely what I want to do. I did my exam, midst of the pandemic, passed, and then I worked for State Farm for like 5 months. And what made me stay there such a short amount of time is I planned to stay there a year and a half, but literally my first day, my agency owner pulled me aside and said, "Thank you so much." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she was like, "Your LinkedIn post has over 300,000 hits. We're getting referrals from all over the country." And that's when I knew that social media was a little bit more powerful than what I thought. And I said, I mean, she was happy, and me, having an entrepreneurial spirit, I'm like, I'm not making any of this money. So then that's when I realized I'm going to learn really the bare minimum I need to learn to run an agency, and I'm out of here. So I started July 7th of 2022, and I left around December 7th of 2020. I mean, excuse me, 2020, and left December 2020, and then started my agency January 2nd of 2021, and haven't looked back since.
Yeah. I heard a couple of things in that, man. So one of the things I heard was that you really wanted to be your own boss. There was an entrepreneurship spirit about you. I'll let you know that's not common for everybody.
Yeah,
It's an uncommon thing.
yeah,
There aren't too many entrepreneurs. People, I believe that there are some people who are built for this
hmm,
and some who are not. And you, for whatever reason, are built to be an entrepreneur. The job in and of itself is not that easy
at
by
all.
nature, but it's I'll say this, it is worthwhile. Yeah.
For sure, no, for
It,
sure.
it ain't easy, but it's worthwhile. And just to have the insight and assurance, like the confidence level, to say, okay, yeah, man, I can do this on my own.
Yeah,
Why am I gonna put all this effort and energy and resource into somebody else's company when I can do it for myself, right?
that's
And I
true.
think a lot of entrepreneurs or people who actually want to step into entrepreneurship can relate, to having that feeling. It's like, man, I have something inside that I can actually develop and build on my own. And you know, sometimes we get stopped by just thinking though as though I don't have the risk level available for me to actually step out there. But you, sir, you did it.
Yeah,
You're
and I
right.
feel like what also helped was being exposed to it at a very young age. I mean, my parents started a business over 15 years ago, and a lot of my family members are entrepreneurs as well, and seeing like the freedom and if they can do it, I can do it type thing. And my
Yeah.
parents instilled to me at a very young age that I could do anything that I put my mind to, and so I never thought when I started my business, what if I fail? That wasn't a what if. It was more so, what if it goes better than what I thought, or what if I have too much business where I have to hire somebody, month one. So that was the kind of what ifs I had, and I never thought like I would fail, and I just put all my eggs in one basket, and I just gave it 110%. And when you really like put your all into everything, it'll happen. It'll work for you.
You said it, man. You said it right there. That is it. If you were to sum up, like, we could be done with the call if you were looking to figure out how to be an entrepreneur. That was it. Like, there's a focus and attention that's there. It's like, okay, it's not about if, it's about how.
Right.
If I can
Exactly.
live in that area of life as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, then there's no doubt. There's no uncertainty about whether or not this thing is going to move forward. It's just about what it's going to take to move it forward, and I can focus on those things. And which I see you doing, man. You talked about LinkedIn and how it had so many hits the first day that you were on. And it's like, well, man, how does that happen? I know people that
I don't know.
like get on social media and they're like, man, I don't understand this stuff. Like, how do I even get a follower? And you had
Yeah.
so many hits on the first day. Like, talk to me about that, man. What was that like for you, and how did you actually do that?
I think that was really God showing me like what social media can do. But after doing that and then having consistency across social media was really what helped. So many people get discouraged. They'll put out three, four, five, six videos and think, well, I'm not getting views, but consistency is key, and that's really what pushes it. Like it's called the algorithm with social media, which is basically some robots in the back office pushing your content to the forefront, but you have to be consistent. I mean, I've been on YouTube 2.5 years now, and I mean, I get views. I have over 10,000 subscribers, but that didn't come overnight. For the first 5, 6 months, I didn't really have any viewers, but I kept going because I knew it was a bigger purpose. And I said, I'm going to give this thing a year. And if after a year this still does not take off, I tried. I gave forth, a true effort, and then I'll say, okay, I'm going to regroup. I'm going to strategize and do something else. But of course, month six, it literally took off from one video had like 300 views to 1,000 views in a day. So it's like you just got to keep going. Don't pay attention to the numbers, but know like your bigger purpose for doing that.
Yeah, consistency is key. That is what it is, man. Consistency is key.
Always.
And I'm hearing some really good things about like the level of maturity like that you have at this age, like to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a year. I'm going to go ahead and give it my all. I'm going to put it to work. And at the end of that time, I'm going to look at the result. And if it's not there, we're going to make a pivot.
Yeah.
And really, if we can sit there and look at that thought process, that's everything inside of business success summed up into one statement. Okay. Now, I know that you and I wanted to get on this call to have like a conversation and like do like information for people. I know you had some things that you want to talk to and ask me about, and as far as like how entrepreneurs can actually be successful, and
Yeah.
some of the things that you didn't know before that now you know because of our relationship. What are some of those things that you're looking to ask of me?
So really more so on the accounting side, like how soon, because I get this question a lot, how soon should someone hire an accountant to, come on the team? And then also, well, yeah, how soon and then how much money do they need to have in order to hire an accountant? Or just how does that work for a lot of people that, are new in business? And because I didn't know really the first year, and then I had to, all this money I had to pay back. So it's like if I would have had one from God day one, I could have been ahead of the game.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good question because a lot of times we get into business, we start out, we're just not sure what it's going to look like. So we don't know if we're going to have the money there, the cash flow there. So I know that's a thing with a lot of folks just getting started out. Like, when should I do this? Um, I was actually doing a webinar on Monday and just looking at some statistics about this specifically too. It's like interesting you asked that question because it said like something like 70% of business owners do not feel as though they understand how to do like accounting and bookkeeping processes fully. And then it said something else about that ridiculously is like 64% of businesses or high percentage of businesses don't even lean on or leverage the use of an accountant.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe
and And at the same time, they talk about how 80% of businesses fail within the first 5 years,
Hmm.
and then another like of the ones remaining, another 60% fail between 5 and 10 years. And it really does come down to these things like accounting and understanding like what the numbers mean. Numbers are the language of business.
Mhm.
Robert Kiyosaki has a book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Years ago when I read that first time around, I was like, "Yep, this is it. This is where I want to be. I understand that, and I want to be a master at this." And it may not be that person's skill set, like in business, because we all have like our creativity and what we do inside of business, and we want to lean on those things and do more of those things that we love in our
Mhm.
business. And the skill set here and the numbers may not be there. And this is what you want to understand. If you don't have those skill sets, if you feel you're not confident in that way whatsoever, then I would recommend starting with somebody right away from the start, because it'll save you so much in the long run.
That's
I
true.
was on a call with somebody yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. I mean, somebody in the trucking space,
Mhm.
and they just don't know this area of business. They hired a random person,
Mhm.
and that person is not necessarily, he's not asking the questions he needs to ask, for one, as a business owner, right? So sometimes we just don't know what to ask.
Mhm.
Number two, the people who are actually delivering the service in terms of the accounting, they're just going to do do based on what you give them, what you provide to them. A lot of the times, it's like
Yeah.
almost robotic.
Mhm.
And because of that, because there's no partnership and relationship with somebody like account, like when I work with people, it's like I see things. I'm going to have your back. Like I'm just not going to sit there and let you just kill
Yes.
yourself.
Right.
Right. Right. So, but this guy, he was paying so much more so in taxes, just like how you just said, man. He was paying like $12,000, like out of pocket, man. It's like, what? Why do I have to pay this much? And the reality is, he didn't. He doesn't have to pay. For one, you don't know what you're not taking in terms of deductions. Number two, you don't know like the tax credits that you could possibly qualify for. Number three, you don't know the structure that works the best for you in this particular situation. A lot of the times to cause you not to overpay, overextend yourself. And then like all the programs and the incentives available for you just behaving in a certain way while you're running your business to make sure that you're optimized and don't have to spend so much. So if you have this relationship with this person from the start, it can save you literally tens of thousands of dollars in year number one. So it does make sense to pay, even if you go and like get a consultation, it might cost you a few $100s,
It's
but that
worth
few
it.
hundred that few $100s will save you like 10,000, 20,000.
Exactly. Exactly.
No brainer, right?
And it's like also like you said, you want somebody that you have a relationship with, so they're more like an advisor than just someone you're sending your documents to, and then this is what you have to pay. Like, because you may have questions, so you need to really get someone that's knowledgeable. You know what I mean? I feel like so many times in so many different industries, people get these professionals that aren't knowledgeable. They just pass whatever exam they needed to pass in order to get there.
Yeah.
But then when the time comes, they don't really know what they need to know to make sure that you're equipped. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. It's funny, man, because you're saying this, and these are the things we talk about. I had a conversation. I work with my guys that work with us on our team and account and everything. I
Mm,
talk to them about these very things. Like um, entrepreneurs, people, real lives, they will suffer, right? They
yeah.
have suffering, and it's like the job is to like make sure that they don't have that. They don't have the suffering. It's not necessary. There was somebody we were specifically talking about earlier today. They have, I mean, they're regular people, man. It's like they have multiple things going on. They have the business. They have the wife has the business. The husband has the business, but the wife has another business outside of her regular business with a partner
Mhm.
that has real estate and everything. And it's like, well, they are still people that just need to pay their bills, and they can't really afford to pay extra on like stuff that they don't need to pay extra for. And then on one side of it, like her partnership has another professional, like what you said, and just kind of just go and they pass something and then they just go ahead and do this stuff, right? But then there's an impact because I see it. It's like, well, now they got to pay more in self-employment tax because they didn't file it like the way that it was actually supposed to be filed. Now there's a liability there. It's like costing
Right.
them like thousands of dollars because they didn't file it accurately, and it's impacting on the personal side, right? And that's suffering. You're wondering why you can't get ahead, and it might not be simply because you're not working hard enough. It might just be because you're just not optimized inside of your situation, and you want to have somebody like what you said to be a partner where you can ask these questions. And I love being there for people like her. and people like you, man, like I love talking about this stuff. I love learning about this stuff, and I want to make sure that it's being delivered in a way where people can actually keep their money and they can actually have their business grow. You know,
Right.
so yeah, that's a good question, man.
Yeah.
Just get started with somebody right away, right away.
And what's like the average, like, I guess, across, I don't know, the country or whatever, like, what's the average cost to hire someone?
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything, man. It's like you get what you pay for, right?
Okay.
Inside of that, and I'll say this on average, it depends on what you're looking to get in terms of advisory versus like compliance services versus like tax filing or whatever that looks like. And it could get pricey depending on the nature of your business and what you're looking to accomplish. If I can come in, like for someone like me, if I can come in and say, okay, your business is actually not optimized in this way, we can come in and actually add another, six figures to your bottom line over the next 6 months.
Mm.
Well, that's going to cost you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because there's something to be gained from that, right?
Mm.
You consider that an ROI on the return of what you're investing there. But on like taxes, like filing your taxes, you can expect to pay for an individual return. Like if you're not set up with a separate business, like if you're a sole proprietor
Mhm.
and you're just filing on your regular like individual return, there's no difference between you and the business. Well, that can be somewhere around $500 on average to file that return. It can be more. Some people charge $1,000 to file returns like that. If you have like a business return, like an S corp or a partnership, like what I've seen in the industry, like somewhere around $1,200 to $2,000 is what I typically see people getting charged to file their business returns. Now, it makes sense in a lot of cases to have that S corp return because you're going to be saving a lot more by paying for that return than if you would not in taxes is what you would save.
Gotcha, gotcha. And so also, why do you think people get so like antsy when it comes to like taxes and all that good stuff? Like I would say for entrepreneurs, like, we get this money in and some, like, you get excited and sometimes you forget, oh, this money's not taxed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then, on the back end you have to kind of pay that money. But if you don't have someone that's helping you and setting you up on having withdrawals and stuff, you don't really know. You know what I mean? At the end of the year, now you're paying this lump sum. You made all this money, and hopefully you didn't spend it all because now you really have to pay it back. And if you don't pay it back, the IRS will find you. Like,
yes, they will.
they will find you for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So the idea is planning. And you said something about people hate tax time and pay taxes. And I don't know, are you hearing an echo when I'm talking?
I don't, but I don't. My lawn people are outside. I don't know if you can hear them. They're like riding by my house, and I hear them. I
Yeah.
hope that's not too loud.
No, that's not too loud. I just hear my
Okay.
own echo.
Oh no, I don't hear any echo. No, no.
So good, fantastic. Now, as far as planning is concerned, if we do it throughout the year, if we understand like a game plan, and we're actually revisiting this thing over and over again, then there's going to be a situation where you're not going to actually have to pay out of pocket at the end of the year because it's already taken care of. Like more than likely, you can get a refund, even as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. It's possible to do that. Now, a lot of people get antsy around tax time because they figure they're going to have to pay out of pocket. And it's only because you haven't run your business like a business. That's it. That's the plain and straightness of it. You just haven't treated your business like a business. Treating your business like a business means you understand your expenses. You understand like the bottom line, like what it is that you're making, what it is like after tax, the impact of taxes, right? What you actually have made, and you can account for this and put these things away for the time that they're due. If you are set up as an S corp, for example, this can be simply done by making sure that your W-4 is adjusted for whatever you're getting as a wage for yourself inside of an S corp. And then every time you pay yourself a paycheck, this is just taken care of throughout the year. And then even outside of that planning process, there are other things that we can actually look at to make sure you're still not even more so overexposed to taxes. There are behavior patterns. Like if you're looking to hire people on, there's ways to hire people in which you're going to get a tax credit for hiring certain people. You're buying like vehicles or whatever it is, you're using that vehicle for your business, and make sure you strategize how you're going to purchase your vehicle. You can have a tax credit for buying an electric vehicle instead of just buying a regular vehicle for your business, and you'll get the deduction for the depreciation of the expense, at the same time. Um, this lady I was talking to, the same lady that has that situation with paying overpaying in self-employment tax, and like her business, like think about this, right? These are ways that we can actually strategize and funnel things through to just making like little behavior changes. Like you have one business that owns real estate, and the other business rents the real estate from that business. Man, so much, man. Because now you got to think about this. There's something called earned income. Now, it might be a little technical. Earned income. And this is how the IRS looks at earned income, right? If you notice, like if you have a regular job, you get a paycheck, and there's a silent partner called FICA, takes their cut, right? And there's another silent partner called the federal withholdings, takes their cut, and the state withholdings takes their cut. But this guy FICA, right, it specifically deals with earned income. This is like the future planning part of like what you pay into, like get paid for. It's to set up your retirement, FICA, Social Security, Medicare. That's what that is. So if you get a paycheck from like a regular job, you'll see there's a that amount that comes out from your paycheck for Social Security and Medicare. But what you don't see, this is the other side of it, is that the your employer, they pay their portion of that too. They pay the same amount that you pay. It's like you pay one half, your employer pays the other half, right? Now, what happens when the employee and the employer are the same person? They got to pay both sides of that thing, right? Yeah. So this is earned income. You provide a service, you get paid, and you got to pay this. Now, this is not the same thing. Like, it's not going to be the same case if you have passive income. It's not earned income. There's no FICA for this. Passive income means, royalties, um, like rental income, like rental income is considered passive, right? Um,
Would residuals be considered passive income or no? Or like, you know,
yeah. Inside of like the insurance agency, like the residuals, that's another passive income stream, right?
okay.
So now, like we take a look at it, like the components of it, this is income that I don't have to physically work for. I don't earn this income. I don't provide the service for it anymore. And it's still coming in regardless. So this does not get subjected to, we call that self-employment tax, the earned income for earning income. Now, if I'm talking about this because this lady, she has the business that owns real estate, and she has the business that she actually performs services for is earned income. But she could pay rent
Yeah.
because she's staying inside of that. She's using the facility that's owned by the other company
Yeah.
for the office, so she could pay rent, and the rent money is reducing her earned income, right? That she pays
Yeah.
out,
Hmm.
right? And then it turns it into passive income for her other business, which doesn't is not subjected to the that self-employment tax.
It's a lot of loopholes, you know. There's like,
Yeah, so
but you
it's
got to
like,
have someone that's educated and you know what I mean, that knows kind of like the trick of the trade.
yeah, but I mean that's the thing. It's like, well, how do you make sure you keep all your hard-earned money? There are ways to do this, right? And the whole thing is just to have, like you said, somebody in your corner that's knowledgeable in this area, somebody that really cares about you succeeding in life.
Hmm.
That's one of the key components, and somebody who has like the integrity too, like to say, okay, this is not the job, so let me get the job done until it's done. But good question.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah.
I do want to flip it back around though, and talk to you more so, man, because the thing I'm impressed about with you the most, Kenny, is that um like I remember being your age, right?
A
And
thousand years ago.
way way back in the day when I was your age, youngin, right? That's how they be talking, right? I remember way back, um, and I was in that place, man. And like
Mhm.
not too many people are in the same position I was in. I was an entrepreneur back then. I was figuring the game out, and I did not have the guidance. Like I didn't have entrepreneurs in my family to teach me the ropes or anything like that. I just said, "Oh, you know what? I'm built like this. I know it now."
Yeah.
And I just went out there and started creating stuff and messing up in the process and making all those
Right.
mistakes and having some successes and moving it forward. and I see, like, at this stage of the game, like, your trajectory is really, really, really good, like, for where you're headed.
Thank
And
you.
there's an opportunity available for you to create something massive here in life over the next 5 to 10 years, right? Which is how you're showing up, right? Um, I want to hear from you, man. What is your take on that? What is your thought process about where you are in life, and how this insurance company relates to your overall, like, path in entrepreneurship, and what do you see that looking like in the next few years? How is this going to be for Kenny in the next 10 years?
Yeah, I'm learning to enjoy the process. And like I see this post all the time. It's like, don't forget to enjoy where you're at, because this is what you're now where you prayed for that you want it to be. So enjoying the process, and always like strategizing to get to that next level. And I do see growth in my business. I mean, now I have 8 agents under me. I have an assistant. Like I have, things I appreciate. I have things like working. So my bigger, I guess, purpose really, I feel like, is education. I mean, I educate through my YouTube. I mentor agents. I do different things like that. And I wanna, my big goal is to have, my agency run itself, have someone kind of just run it and I oversee it, and me just kind of going around the country training agents. I've had companies like Liberty Mutual reach out to me, different insurance companies reach out and say, can you come and train agents? So that's kind of really what I want to do, and show them how to grow their business authentically. So much in the insurance industry, they talk about buy leads, but it's like, I mean, you can, but you don't really have to put out that unnecessary money. I've never bought a lead a day in my life, and I've been able to stay afloat. So I feel like my bigger purpose is definitely like educating and training agents for sure. And then business people in general. Like I want to be like a business mogul where I'm training different business, no matter what it is, to like help them start their business and be successful.
Beautiful, beautiful, man. That's pretty much why I feel that you're on this call with me today, man, because that's how I feel about things.
Yeah,
I love entrepreneurship. There's no other place I'd rather be in the world.
yeah,
This is my tribe. These are my people, and I work with my people every single day.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, man. And I'm like, the journey. That's living the journey, man. Like, living the moments inside of the journey that light me up is just being around people like you. You're my tribe. All these entrepreneurs are my tribe, man. And to be in a space where you actually can share and give back in terms of what has worked and what has not worked, like, those things, those lessons too, is like invaluable. There's no more greater feeling in terms of contribution that I can imagine there
Yeah.
being, right? So I get that.
And I will say also, so many people like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur, because what they see on social media is not easy. And you have people reach out, like, oh, I want to start a business, but like, do you really want to start a business? Like, a lot of times we do trade our time in, like, to our business. Like, when the business first starts, it's a child. You can't leave it unattended for too long. So
Yeah,
it's like, you can't put in PTO. You can't really take sick days like that. Like, you really got to be there. And people don't see that hustle and grind. I was watching Oprah give this speech, and she always says that people really want to be where I am, but they don't want to do what it takes to get here. And that's really with entrepreneurs in general. Like, y'all want to be at the top, y'all want to have the nice things and be successful and have the team, but you don't want to have the sleepless nights. You don't want to, have all that going
yeah,
on to get there. You just want to get to the top. And a lot of times people don't start because they don't want to be seen at the bottom. But you have to work from the bottom to the top. So
yeah. I mean, you're saying something right there, man. Like, you're speaking the gospel when it
yeah,
comes to that. We always think it's going to be sweet, or there's a misconception of how much it takes. It's like, yeah, they say I'm willing to do this. Yeah, that's what I want, so I'm willing to do this. But then when we get into it, it's like, oh, I really signed up for this. This ain't it, man.
exactly.
I ain't gonna be able to
Exactly.
do this. Like, it's really, because this is one of the things that we say. It's like, entrepreneurs are only people that give up a 40-hour job to go work 80 hours and make less,
Literally.
right? All right, because that's what it looks like in the beginning. A
Yeah.
lot of the time, it's like we just put so much into it, and that's what it takes. Like, there's something in building, right? There's a leveling process in a building that everybody has to go through if you're going to build something, right? And it takes a lot of equity, like sweat equity, um, financial equity, right? Emotional equity inside of a business. It's a toxic relationship a lot of the time
Yeah.
with the business, right? Where, man, it doesn't love you back. It seems like in the
Yeah.
beginning,
Yeah.
right?
For sure.
But But the thing that I would say about that for entrepreneurship, because you brought this up, man, about like what people's conceptions are about getting into business, is that you want to keep the end in mind. The only reason that you and I get to do what we do is because we're seeing like the future that we're living into with this business. Like you're living into being a mogul, somebody who can teach people how to like have fantastic, well developed, well-oiled machine like businesses that produce something in life. Right. So that's the future you get to live into. I'm living into the same future where, everybody is abundant in my world.
Yeah.
In my world, everybody gets what they want, and through entrepreneurship, through freedom, wealth, and legacy, they get peace, ease, and clarity. Those are the things that they get in my world. That's the future I live into. Right. And there's nothing more glorious than that from where I stand and from what I can see. Right.
No,
Wouldn't be no other place I'd rather be
no place.
inside of that.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
I couldn't punch a clock. It's been 2.5 years. Like I couldn't go back to working for somebody, and just like the freedom I have, and I'm learning to take some time for myself. I think it was Monday. I like slept half the day. I mean, I got up and worked, but I kind of slept. I was not feeling the greatest. But it's like I'm able to do that. If I need to go to a doctor's appointment, I'm able to step away. I don't have to ask. Like I used to hate having to ask. Can I go to lunch? And it's 30 minutes, and by the time you go get food and come back, I mean, it's over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like having that freedom, and again, like I said, just being exposed to that. I feel like a lot of people in our community that look like us are not exposed to that. They're taught to, oh, you got to go to school, or oh, you got to get a job after graduation or something. But we're not really taught. Like there are trades. Like it took me 2 to 4 weeks to get my insurance license in less than $1,000, and and the earned income is unlimited. But people always are taught to go to college, you know what I mean? But there are a lot of different trades, and that's one thing that I really want to help a lot of people on. Like real estate, same type of deal. It's like there's so many different things you can do where you don't have to go get that 4-year degree, because school is not for everyone. But if you find something that you truly enjoy that can be a trade, I mean, you can be making surgeon money, honestly. So if not more, you know what I
If not more,
mean?
if not more.
Yeah.
What do you think are the major skill sets one would need to have in order to do what you just said? Like take all like the commonplace education out of the way, but you just want to really go after it and create something of your own.
Yeah.
What do you think would have to be available, like as far as the skill sets and the mindsets and the principles in order to deliver on that and create that vision?
You definitely have to be ambitious and like have grit. Like you gotta want it, because nobody's standing over you when you're in bed saying, "Listen, you gotta get up. Like you gotta make this money. If you don't work, you don't eat." You definitely have to have that, and then you have to learn, which I learned very early on, is you have to separate your emotions from your business, because when you do that, it makes things a lot easier. When clients leave or something happened and a deal falls through or you're getting upset, it makes things a lot easier, and it helps you to maintain your professionalism as well. And you also have to be self-motivating. Like I remember when somebody asked, like, who motivates you, or how do I get motivation if I need to be an entrepreneur? I'm like, you don't need to be one if you're looking for other people for, that motivation. That needs to be from within, because nobody is going to want this more than you, and no one should want it more than you. Like I've had friends that I've tried to help, and it seemed like I was wanting their success more than them. And of course, the business failed. Like you have to want it for yourself, because I can't work in your business every day. Your friends can't work in your business every day. You have to show up 110% even when you don't feel like it. I had last May, I don't know if you remember, but two of my uncles died 2 weeks apart.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
every day I was still showing up to work. I was still showing up. And my friends were like, well, why? Why don't you take a break? And I told them I wanted to do now what my future self would thank me for. Because had I, I had like, a dip in revenue, but I still was
hmm
showing up. I wasn't completely not working. And now my future self now is thinking like, getting those renewals, getting those residuals. I'm glad that I showed up. It hurt, but it's like, as an entrepreneur, we sacrifice a lot. We don't have, like I said, PTO. We don't have bereavement leave. You gotta be there,
right,
especially when you're in the
right.
beginning and you're just by yourself. I mean, if you're not there, the business doesn't run, and you have to run your business to make revenue. So,
Man, you preaching, brother. That is it right there. From the grit to the we call it self mastery, is mastery over the emotions.
mhm.
Yeah, so there's a whole world of that right there. Right. To motivation, right? Motivation and being able to say, okay, this is mine. I own it. and nobody else is going to do this but me. So who
Nobody.
else? Why am I looking outside of it when I am the source of it all? It's
You
like,
gotta
man,
be.
boom, that's it, man.
You gotta be.
Talking about the future self. Ooh, look
Yeah.
at you, man.
Yeah. I got you. I got
Yeah.
you. I feel like I'm so like much
Yeah.
older than 25, like mentally, but it's just like I know what I want and I don't want to fail. You know what I mean? And I want to be able to have a life of financial freedom and being able to move how I want, to travel, to help others, to bless people. You know, I want that. So it's like I
Yes.
know I have to go hard now. And if I go hard now, in 10 years, I'm going to thank myself. And I'll be 35 in 10 years. You know what I mean? It's not like I'll
Yeah.
be old, but you know, so I'm like, you know, if I would have started at 20 or 17, where I'll be now, you know what I mean? So it's like if I just sacrifice that time now while still enjoying myself and taking time for me, which is I think a big thing that I struggle with is, you know, taking time for yourself and like self-care. And I think that's very important for people to take time away from their business because you don't want to get burnt out. Yes, you're the one that's doing everything, but you have to make sure that you're good because if you're not good, your business won't be able to run at its optimal level.
Let's talk about that for a little bit too. All right, because that's key. Like
Mm-hmm.
burnout and what that looks like
Oof.
in self care.
Yeah.
What are the limits? That's the whole thing. It's like we always think about pushing the limits of ourselves to get to where we want to get to in life, and the overwhelm and the frustration starts to set in, and it's like we can't see up from down sometimes because we're exhausted, right? And it does come back to what you were talking about. It's like, what am I doing for self care and self renewal? I will say this: most days I get up at 4:30 in the morning, right? Most days, and I'll have a day like yesterday, 4:30 in the morning, and then I'm going, and I'm actually finishing off things. I have some other projects, so I'm going, and it's in the morning when I'm shutting down.
The next day? Oh, the
Yeah,
same. Well, yeah, the next day.
yeah, same thing, right? Shutting down. But there's in that 4:30 in the morning process, there is a renewal inside of me getting up and doing that. There's a whole routine that I have in order to do self renewal and go to the gym. Um, you know, after I work out, I hit this little hydro massage, get that
Yeah.
thing done, right? And then there's like a like an hour long process that I take to get spiritually grounded for the day. After I go to the gym, right? And I feel it. There is a self renewal. But this is something I'm bringing this up. Normally, don't share this a whole lot, and everybody's seeing this whole routine that Cheston has, right?
Right.
Right. I'm bringing this up because it does speak to that. Like I can keep like those days. I can keep having those days. Like I've had more of those days in the last year than I've had in my whole life, right? That I can keep going like that because I'm fulfilling on some things. Projects need to move forward. Business wants to grow, and people like you need help and they need to be taken care of. So so
Right.
I make sure that I am every bit of what's wanted and needed
Mm.
to do the job. It does take that focused effort. I actually focus on that in the morning. Is what I want to say. Is that continued renewing that grounding process, like the powering up process of life. Otherwise, you will have these moments where you just don't. You're not effective. Right? You're not effective anymore. Burnout sits in. It's like, man, I can't even see up from down. I've been in those places, and it does take something. It takes intentionality to have that self renewal, right? That self care, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to look like we think it wants to look a lot of the times, and that's why I'm bringing that up. Right? We always think we want a vacation. We need a vacation with things, and every day for me is a vacation.
I love it. I love
Right?
it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, no, for sure. And like with that, just I always say just do one small thing for yourself. Like I was having a rough day. One of my friends, he called randomly. He's like, "Hey, bro, what are you doing?" Like, I'm stressed out. I'm working. I was just like typing away, like he was talking, and he said, "Well, what did you do for yourself today?" And I was like, yikes. And I literally went to, I think, Starbucks, got a coffee, and sat outside, and it changed my whole day. And it's like you said, you don't have to go on these lavish vacations every month to feel taken care of, but do things for yourself. So many times we put ourselves on the back burner, but if we have a significant other, we're so quick to just to spoil and wine and dine, but we treat ourselves like crap, honestly. And it's like
Yeah.
you have to treat yourself well so you can, run the business. And I mean, I almost had a burnout, but I got back, I had to take care of myself and step away from it. And it's okay to step away. And one thing that I also struggled with in the beginning was stepping away doesn't mean I'm not being productive, because I'm being productive in the business, but you also have to be actively working to improve your mental health as well. You know what I mean? And you can't just give your all to your business and then at the end of the day there's nothing for you, because you know my business is here, but I'm more than my business. I'm a human. I have a life
Yep.
and things like that. So it's like I have to learn to step away, enjoy things, and know like when I get back, it'll still be here.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
learning the balance, honestly, was probably one of those. And I'm still, working on truly learning that balance. So,
Yeah. What we call that is fulfillment, right? That's like fulfillment of life.
mhm.
So I see that, man. We're in the discovery of what that actually looks like. Each and every one of us is always in the discovery of that. Well, I won't say each and every one of us are, but that's the opportunity that's available for each and every one of us
Right.
to be in the discovery of what that looks like. Kenny, man, it has been a pleasure speaking with you today.
Likewise.
Yeah, man.
Likewise.
Definitely enjoy having you on, brother.
Always.
Uh, yeah, yeah. And I'm hoping that people that are chiming in, watching, and even if we're looking at recording this, you're getting some value out of the conversation. I think that there's some value in this conversation for everybody who's on this journey called entrepreneurship. If you're in the same industry as Kenny, in the insurance industry, you're trying to figure things out. You're wondering how to make it happen because there is a lot of you said something earlier about buying leads. This is what you hear. Like, you got to buy some leads, right? And people keep buying leads. It costs them like 20, 30, $40 a lead. And it's like, am I getting the return on these things?
Not at
Yeah,
all. Usually not at all. It's
yeah,
crazy. So I always preach that and try to help people as much as possible. For a fee. Like that's the thing too. Like learn your worth. Because so many times people are like, "Well, you charge? Well, you need the knowledge, don't you?" And my time is valuable. And it's just like, it's got to make sense for me because I am a business. You know what I mean? And if I was in here helping people all day and my cup would be empty, my pockets would be too. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Because I
yeah,
have to focus on my business. And anytime I take away from my business to help someone, like it's got to make sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, Kenny, again, man, I just really want to real quick. How can people get in contact with you? If they need assistance for anything, they need mentorship, they need insurance. How would they get a hold of you, brother?
Yeah, so my YouTube and Instagram is Kenny J TV, all one word, just how it sounds. And then my website is www.remedy, so like the word REMEDY, and then IWB, so like insurancewealthbuilders.com. You can reach out to me on there or my social platforms, and I'll be sure to get back to you. The quickest way usually is to put like a request in the website or maybe a DM, but I do get a lot of direct messages on Instagram. So website will probably be the best way to contact me.
Good deal.
Yeah,
Thank you for that, sir. And
of
of
course.
course, you can reach me if you guys need some eyes on your accounting. You need some structure and some bookkeeping, maybe.
He's great,
And
guys. Great and very
yeah,
ethical.
yeah. You can always reach me in the toll free number. Look at this, 888
Toll free.
888. You don't have to pay for this thing, man. It's like, that's old school. Nobody has to pay for anything now anyway. 888 4BTB now. Buy the books consulting 4BTB now. That's 888
Mm-mm.
428 2669. You can also reach us at buythebooksconsultants.com, or you get to the same website by going to youraccountingsuperhero.com. All right. And you can always reach me on social media at your accounting superhero, at your accounting superhero.
I
Okay.
love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Hey guys, it's been great. Man, love this stuff. I could do this all day.
Same.
Yeah, but we got to go.
I gotta get back to work,
You
man.
got to get back to work, brother. All right. Thanks, Kenny. I'll
Yes,
talk
sir.
to you
Have a
later,
good one.
man.